Hello and welcome to another An Old Man Watches. And today I'm going to be talking about the 1989 science fiction film Arena. And in this film we meet Steve Armstrong, which is a very on-the-nose name, given the topic of the film, who works as a short-order cook on a space station somewhere in the galaxy. He's pretty bad at his job. And young Steve messes up the orders so thoroughly that he's confronted by an irate alien customer named Vang, who bears a striking resemblance to the creature from the Black Lagoon, actually, in terms of facial makeup. But it turns out that Steve is better at punching than he is at cooking, and he lays Vang out, throws him through a window, in fact. Now, it emerges after the event that Vang is a licensed arena fighter, so taking him out is actually pretty impressive. Steve even gets an offer to fight in the arena, but he turns it down. He's had enough of space and just wants to head back to Earth with his friend Shorty. This is easier said than done, though, especially since they just both lost their jobs for decking a customer. Shorty decides to resort to some shortcuts, oddly enough, in an attempt to raise the cash for tickets, and his efforts land him in hot water with a local gangster. It seems that the only way that Steve is going to be able to find the money to save his friend is to enter the arena after all. But can any human, no matter how talented, really earn success in the toughest fighting competition in known space? Well, I mean, there wouldn't be much of a movie if he couldn't now, would there? Now, it's rarely a good sign when the box blurb doesn't match the actual movie, and Arena is such a film. The DV cover and the image on your screen claims no human has won the tournament for 1,000 years, while in the movie it's explicitly stated to be 50 years. That's not really an important difference, but, attention to detail is a thing that is good. Anyway, this is a cheapy science fiction film from Charles Band, a prolific producer of cheapy science fiction films of wildly varying quality. Overall, I think Arena sits somewhere in the middle of his output. It lacks the quirky charm of an early Puppet Master film, but it's streets ahead of the soulless, minimum possible effort sludge that is, well, any recent Puppet Master film, frankly. Let's talk about what does and doesn't work in this movie. In the doesn't work column, I'm going to have to put our supposed hero, Steve Armstrong. He's a tall, blonde guy with an impressive six-pack, so, he definitely looks the part of a tough brawler. Alas, though, I find the script makes him rather unlikable. He spends most of the first segment of the film whining about how the arena fights aren't what they used to be and that no one will give him a shot, and then someone offers him a shot and he walks away from it. I mean, okay, I know that that's part of the hero's journey, the denial of the call to action, but, you've just told us this was your dream and now you're being offered your dream and you're not taking it. It's not very protagonistic of you. It ultimately takes a direct threat to his friend to get Steve to do the thing he was originally saying that he wanted to do, and, I guess good on him for loyalty to his buddy. That's one, and exactly one, positive personality trait that he will show in the film. The rest of the time, Steve is pretty much a smug and entitled jerk, and I found it hard to care over much about his success or failure. And I want to, point out I'm not blaming the actor, I'm blaming the script. The actor's performance is fine, but he is playing rather a whiny, self-entitled character. Secondly, on the positive side of the thing, while the image above on screen doesn't show it to the best effect, because a sharp static image tends to make the rubberiness of a mask more obvious, the effects work on the aliens is actually one of this film's strengths. While I was a smidgen underwhelmed by the arena champion Horn, who is essentially just a cyborg minotaur, most of the other designs are more distinctive, and some are much less obviously guy in a rubber suit. The alien named Sloth, in particular, is a really nice design, which is just as well, since he's Armstrong's first official opponent in the arena, so he gets quite a lot of screen time and focus. He, it, she... Sloth's gender is not clear. Sloth is substantially larger than a human, and has a somewhat creepy mix of reptilian and insectoid features with long grasshopper-like legs that fold up around its bulbous body. If you look up the film's trailer online, you'll see Sloth get a fair bit of attention in that, because, He does have a fairly major fight scene with Steve. You'll also get to see Steve Armstrong's hilariously goofy fighting costume. So it's win-win, really. It is very 80s, shall we say. Straight out of that era of pro wrestling. Finally, not so much necessarily directly related to the quality of the movie, though it does tangentially affect it. If you're a fan of science fiction TV, especially from the mid to late 90s, several faces in this film should be known to you. Steve Armstrong's manager, Quinn, is played by Babylon 5's Claudia Christian, and Armin Shimmerman and Mark Alamo, both of Deep Space Nine, also have roles. If you're anything like me, you'll probably get some enjoyment in watching these familiar faces tackle different, though in some cases quite similar, roles to the ones for which they are best known. And hey, they're all people who've had decent careers, and there's a reason for that. While it's true that Ms. Christian is probably still a little green at the point that this movie was made, and her performance is a bit stiff at times, at the end of the day, these three people know their jobs and they do them pretty well. The rest of the cast, while not as instantly recognisable to me, are also pretty solid. As I said, I might not like Steve Armstrong much, but that's because of how he's written, not because of how Paul Satterfield plays the role. So yeah, the cast and the costuming, Steve's fighting attire aside, are both solid. The script is ultimately the film's weakest link. It lacks an especially likeable lead, and the basic plot isn't anything especially deep or novel. The main reasons to check this one out are if you enjoy practical special effects work, which I do, or if you have fond memories of the shows on which several cast members appeared. So that's Arena. Next time, I don't know if you remember the late 90s, early noughties pop group S Club, or S Club 7. In most cases, probably not, to be honest. Well, whether you did or not, they made some movies, and we're going to talk about the last of them, which is the only one I've seen, 2003's Seeing Double. But that's next time. Until then, thanks for watching this video, and I hope you enjoyed it.